Hi, happy you're here. Get comfy and let's get started. Sit at My Grave, Season 2, Reflections, Chapter 23. As Arden recalled it, the rite didn't stay silent. It was a mix of talking, arguing, and a lot of mistaking one another trying to get the upper hand. Home, sweet home. Now get out, Reed said, stopping his car in front of their house. It's raining, Arden commented, poking his finger at the window, watching as the drips drizzled down. So what? You'll survive, Reed rolled his eyes. My backpack, my books, they'll get all wet, Arden complained. Gosh, you're so whiny, Reed mocked him. I need my stuff for school. You're the whiner. You complain about everything, Arden snarked back. You know, just because you're funny looking doesn't make you actually funny, Reed replied, smirking at Arden's frustration. You're not waiting in my car. Get out, I'm leaving. I gotta go meet up with Clint, Reed told him, flicking his head. Arden slapped at him again. Fine, he yelled. He gathered everything into his backpack and prepared to sprint out. Just as he stepped out of the car, Reed grabbed his backpack, yanking it. It made him fall backwards into his seat with a yelp as he clung onto his glasses. You're such a dummy, Reed laughed at him. Arden could feel his face reddening with embarrassed anger. Stop it, Arden demanded. Bring my stuff in too, Reed told him, dropping some items in Arden's lap. Why should I? Arden complained. 'Cause, if you don't, I'll keep yanking you by your little backpack. Reed laughed again. Arden angrily snatched up the items, stomping away. Bye, Reed called in a sing-song before speeding off. Reed left over his jacket and a bag of trash from his car. Arden grumbled the whole way in, draping the jacket across himself while he held the bag with his other hand, leaving one empty so he could get into the house. Thankfully, he didn't get as drenched as he was expecting, thanks to that jacket. His mother looked shocked when he came in. She began apologizing for not picking him up, but he hardly listened to her. He instead put everything down and locked himself in his room. He was too tired to ask any more questions about why he wasn't picked up. He hated school, almost as much as his relationship with Reed. Arden jolted a bit with something soft but pressure on his arm. He glanced to his side, seeing Genevieve laying against him, practically asleep. She was turned towards him as much as she could, despite the strength of her seatbelt. Arden looked around for a moment, blinking his eyes slowly. He was in a car, but it wasn't with his brother. He was driving home with the McKinneys after dropping Gallon off. He'd been so lost in his mind, thinking of old memories, he hardly remembered how he'd gotten there. Genevieve was at least not crying anymore, so he assumed they resolved it. Well, as much as they could without dragging Gallon back home with them. Arden, are you awake? Clint asked, glancing back there. He smiled a bit, seeing his daughter cuddled up next to him. Yeah, I'm just thinking, Arden answered, blowing out a quiet sigh. The moment he thought of between him and Reed was one of many. Lately, he felt he was carefully putting together a puzzle of glass, piece by piece, yet some things didn't fit. They were meant to. The glass was chipped. Arden forced himself to start really thinking of other people's feelings recently, mainly his brother's, and their fight. He could list off the top of his head why he was so angry the day of that awful argument. He'd come home after going to a birthday party he wasn't invited to. Gallon had just wanted him to go since he was going. It didn't end well. No one else wanted him there, and it was pretty clear. He ended up back at home. He remembered being so upset. That was possibly one of the many moments that solidified his grim outlook on other people. When he was brought home, he tried to ride his bike around the yard just to make himself feel better. He was trying to act like he didn't care, but back then, he did. After a while of just sitting around alone outside, he wanted to talk to Reed, for him to help him like usual, but something happened. Something awful. So, baby, Gallon tells us you're looking for a job. That's great, we're so proud of you, Genesis said, smiling at Arden. Yeah, I am. I actually already have one, Arden admitted. Had? What went wrong? Clint asked frowning. It was too far from home, Arden lied. The McKinneys weren't his parents, of course. They shouldn't care if he was fired for a good or bad reason, but it always seemed like they did. And telling them the real reason didn't seem necessary. Well, that works out great, Genesis said, clapping her hands together. Declan shook his head at her before glancing at Arden. If you're still available for work, we have a job for you, Declan offered. The streetlight shined on Arden's surprised expression as he glanced at them. What is it? He asked, squinting his eyes. With Gallon being off at college, we're all going to have to adjust. He'd stay at home and watch Genevieve a lot, especially when they both let out of school, but now, me and Declan have work to do, appointments, errands, and until we can fix our schedule so we'll be home with Jenny in those hours, we're hoping you could take the job. What do you say? Genesis rambled. You don't have to take it. Babysitting can be pretty difficult, Declan told him, not wanting Arden to feel pressured. Just thought we'd offer it to you before we found anyone else, he said. Getting paid to play with Jenny, that's great. You get time with her, money, and practice for when you're a husband and father, Genesis babbled on. Honey, Declan gently scolded her, seeing Arden's awkward face. Just let us know in a day or two, okay? Declan tried to get the conversation back on track. I'll let you know, Arden agreed. He looked down once he felt Genevieve hug onto him again. Arden didn't take long to decide. He needed a job anyways. This seemed like the easiest break he had in a while. It was close enough to his house, they paid well, and really was happy he was working with people they were close with, so she'd know he was safe. Working there to stack up his funds while he stayed focused figuring out what he and Josiah spoke about last became routine for him. While there was still internal fear that creeped up, and the nights he'd lie awake, at least he felt like he'd got into a groove with this. With every bit of information he uncovered, he felt one step closer to his goals, and that gave him a bit of peace. Here he is, honey. Nice to see you again, Arden. Declan greeted him at the front door. He shook Arden's hand and brought him into a quick hug before leading him inside. Hi, Arden. We were getting worried. Genesis laughed as she walked over, putting in an earring. I got into a conversation with my mom, Arden told him his excuse. Ugh. I hate when people get too chatty when you're trying to leave. Like, hello? Don't you see me with one foot out the door? But nope, talk, it's crazy, Genesis said. Declan smirked at Arden before grabbing his wife's hand. Let's go, dear, we'll be late, he told her. Oh, of course. Bye, Arden. I left you kids some snacks. Make yourself at home. If you don't like those, just eat something else. The kitchen's open to you, Genesis told him. Okay, bye, Arden answered back as they left. They had let him know their home was his home almost every time he came over to watch their daughter. It was a nice gesture. It was clear they'd been missing Gallon. It'd been a while since they'd dropped him off at college, and having Arden over was great for everyone. Genevieve liked it, and so did Declan and Genesis. They'd even invited him to some of their family game nights in Gallon's stead, but Arden always turned them down. He was there mainly to work, reminding himself constantly not to get too relaxed. With a click of the door, the two were finally gone. Arden breathed out a sigh. While he had no prior experience with childcare, besides being kind of annoying and hyper, Genevieve wasn't that difficult to watch. Staying at the McKinney's was good for Arden. He could spend all the time he wanted to study over there, as long as he distracted Genevieve first. However, much like being at his old home or his grandmother's, being there with someone missing felt strange. Arden walked around the place, going to tell Genevieve he was there. As he walked through their house, he ended up going by Gallon's room just to look. He'd gone to Gallon's room at least once or twice since babysitting, finding his parents were keeping it the same, besides occasionally coming in to dust. While there were plenty of great memories coming over to hang out, his mind had a certain memory be tugged up from looking at that room for too long. It made him immediately leave it with an inward shudder. Arden! Genevieve celebrated, running up to him. The first few times she jumped at him, Arden just stood there getting startled and almost getting knocked over from the impact. He didn't want to give in, but eventually, with some difficulty, he started picking her up when she did that. She didn't take the hint and stop. You're here! Genevieve announced happily. I have something to show you. Look, she said after she hugged Arden tightly. Arden put her back down, slightly crouching so he could see. What is it? He asked. My tooth. It's loose, see? I'm getting so big, I'm going to go to castle school at Gallon soon, she said pridefully. She stuck her finger on her tooth, wiggling it. It's not castle school, Arden corrected her. Will you help me get it out? Genevieve pleaded. Arden answered, frowning. He watched her keep wiggling at her tooth uncomfortably. Was she asking him to just rip her tooth from her gums? Sure, parents might do that for their children, but he just found it gross. Plus, he wasn't sure how he would feel about it if Genevieve started crying. Please, please, Genevieve asked again, hopping in place. Maybe later, Arden mumbled, unsure of how else to get out of it. He started on his way back to the living room, Genevieve following closely after. Do you want to play? She asked just as Arden sat on the couch. No thanks, Arden replied, taking out his laptop and phone from his backpack. What are you doing with that? She asked, sitting right next to him, poking at his screen. Arden frowned at her, moving his devices away slightly. Reading, he told her bluntly, hoping she'd get bored soon and leave. Oh, will you read to me, please? She asked, smiling at him. Can't you read yourself, Genevieve? Arden asked. He tried to keep his cool, but he had so much going on in his mind, so many important things to think about. He just recently started figuring where he'd potentially need to go. Like always, it gave him more hassle. He already had to dip into his funds to get a passport. I can read. Do you want me to read to you? Genevieve asked excitedly. I want to read alone, Arden told her. Someone listening to her read sounded even more excruciating. Genevieve pouted a bit, slumping down. Why don't you want to read with me? Galen used to love reading with me, Genevieve sighed. Arden blew out some air, scratching the back of his neck. I'll read to you, Arden agreed. Really? Genevieve asked, perking up. Yeah. Arden barely got the words out before Genevieve ran away. She went to her bookshelf, grabbing an armful of books, struggling back to the couch with Arden, dropping them everywhere. You want me to read all of these? Arden questioned, looking weary. Yes, please, she said, hugging him. She snuggled in close, waiting with anticipation. Arden groaned internally. He glanced at the clock. He had a few hours to be there, and now instead of journaling or studying, he'd be reading those brain-numbing books. At least afterwards she'd be tired out, he figured. Arden opened the first one, grimacing at the blindingly bright colors and balloon-like animals smiling on the front page. I like this one, Genevieve said, smiling up at him, then back at the book. I'm sure you do, Arden muttered. Once upon a time, there lived an alligator named Gavin, and he wanted to have a party, but not just any party, a big party. Arden began reading. I want to go to his big party, Genevieve chimed in. Arden cut a glare at her, but she hadn't noticed. She was still sitting there, staring at the pages. Arden sighed out, but continued on. In his head, he wondered if he was ever that annoying as a child. He didn't remember trying to read about the stories he used to like. He never seemed that annoyed with it, though, so he just concluded he was never like that.